All right. Hello, everyone. Welcome to Millionaire School today. I am Triple Diamond Justin Holden, and welcome. So we do this every Saturday, and this is no different than any other. Today, we're going to be going over things to help you build your business. So if you haven't watched Newbie to Ruby yet, that is our beginning class that will take you through all the beginning steps, how to access your website, enroll a customer, get onto your eSuite, and do your training. So if you haven't done those things, make sure to look for our newest Newbie to Ruby. I will also be going through today, cleaning up some of those and making sure we have one up there for you guys to access. There are a couple, but we had some really good tips at the end of all of our other Newbie to Ruby classes. So they're all up right now. Make sure you're going through those videos. You can find them in our YouTube channel. And again, like I said, I'll be clearing up some of those and making that a little more accessible for you guys. But make sure you watch those. That's going to get you on the right start, get you into the right training, social media training, the eSuite training that we have in the eSuite. So I want to make sure you guys go through that stuff because that's a lot of the basis for this business. But each week now, we're actually going to go over some different stuff. So last week, we went over Instagram. So again, if you haven't seen that either, make sure you watch the Millionaire School Instagram edition to help you build your business on Instagram. It's a really cool way to build your business, especially doing it from home. You know, one of the great things about this business is you can build it from home. So if you're anything like me, you know, I'm not super huge at going to meet new people every day. It's not something I'm the most comfortable with. I have lots of anxiety issues personally. So Instagram was a great way for me to start building my business. That way I didn't have to face people as much. I could kind of go online. It allowed me to kind of not have to face my fears right off the bat. It's something I'm become more comfortable with now that I've been in the business for 2 years and learned a lot more about communication skills. And those are the kind of things I actually want to go over with you today. Like I said, I come from this background. I'm always very personable. If my friends know me, friends and family, they can all attest that I'm a very personable person. And once you get to know me, I open right up and I won't ever stop talking, which is, you know, a good thing and a bad thing, I suppose. But, you know, in this business, it's a little different. You're also not just, you know, talking about yourself. When you start talking about a business or a product, it changes the way you talk. You see it a lot when a lot of distributors start. You may have been the same way when you started, and the first post you put up on, say, Facebook or something was, join my team for $99, and you were so afraid of sounding silly that you ended up sounding silly. It's not because you didn't want to sound that way. It's just you didn't know how to not sound silly. So I want to kind of explain how to do this in person so that you don't come across as silly. It should help you grow your success rate. That way, when you are talking potentials, you're going to have a better ability of coming across and really sharing your ideas and your thoughts effectively and not scaring people away by sounding too silly, too businessy. So I use a little trick I use called F.O.R.M. And it's an acronym. It stands for Family, Occupation, Recreation, and Material Desires. This is a great way to remember. Now, in regular conversation, I'd love to just give you a script. So if you go meet somebody, there's some script you could have in the back of your head of all the things you want to say. But that's just not applicable. You can't really do that in the real world. You can't do that with strangers. So if you use more of a guideline like F.O.R.M, what this allows you to do is actually have meaningful and unique conversations with people. So when I meet someone new, I ask them questions in these 4 general areas. I don't know about you, but I get this a lot too if I go to events and stuff like that, and I'm meeting new people. I do that. I don't know what to say. I kind of freeze up. So I kind of think back to the acronym. I think back to F.O.R.M. And one of the first things I can do is say, how have you been? How's the family? That's an easy one. If I know them and I know they have family, I can immediately delve in. This is why conversations with your friends and family is easier, because you already know something about them. But if you don't know something about them, it's very easy to inquire about them. Are you married? Do you have kids? Ask them questions about their family. And that can also go to, gosh, I don't know. Lots of questions for family. So if you want to work more on a script basis, come up with some interesting questions in that that are unique to that category of F for family. Once we started talking about family, which is a great way to open up, usually I'll get this question a lot. What do you do for work? And you may say the same thing to people. Well, what do you do? What's your job? How do you make a living? How do you pay the bills? There's lots of ways to kind of approach the business aspect of things. So talking to a stranger, you ask those kind of questions, and that gets them talking about their business. Then recreation. What do you like to do for fun? What do you do when you're not working? Again, come up with some interesting ideas for this. Let's do this on Bling It On too, on the group page. If anyone has some great questions they'd like to ask in any of these 4 categories, that would be amazing. I'll put up a post, and we should definitely discuss that on the group page. So last but not least is material desires. So I'll ask people what they want. When you go on vacation, where do you like staying? How do you get to work? What do you drive for a car? What are your hobbies? Hobbies is a great way to kind of figure out between recreation and material desires. So by asking those questions, I can learn a lot about someone. Now, why is that important? For 2 reasons. One, it makes it really easy to start conversations with people. One of the hardest things about starting conversations, at least for me personally, is knowing what to say. So by remembering form, it allows me to open up, ask new questions. When I feel like a conversation is stalled in one area, I can move on to the next area, and it kind of gives me that guideline to talk. Now, it's really important for our business. So when you use form, it gives you an insight into somebody's life. So if I go through F.O.R.M with somebody, and they didn't really say much at family. Maybe they're single, maybe they don't have any kids or husband, wife, or anything. Maybe they're very career-oriented. Maybe this person is, really trying to make it in a career. They're very happy with their career. When I said career, it lit up their eyes. But maybe they work so much that they don't have any recreational time. So they stressed in recreation that they would love to go somewhere, but work is bogging them down. They're not making enough money. They love their job, but they wish they could have a little more free time. And also with that, because they're not making enough money, they don't always own all the things that they want. They have nice things because they don't spend it on their family or anything, but they definitely would like more nice things. So through that conversation, I would say that they're more O-oriented and M-oriented. Now, once I have this information, it allows me to know what they need. Once I know what they need, I can fill that in with what the business can offer. So I might not talk to that person straight up about products. And that's one of the pitfalls that a lot of people fall into. Now, we all want to lead with the wrap. We're wearing our shirts. Have you tried that crazy wrap thing? We've got our lanyards on, and people see that, and they may ask us what that is. And that's the easiest way to start conversations, is starting with the wrap. So when you answer those initial questions, that's one thing. But then you want to actually move back and learn more about them. Use that form to find out, to start that conversation. Get invested in people. Start to understand what makes them tick. There's lots of other things out there, like learning people's colors, which is a great thing I recommend that you all learn how to do. We'll put up some resources for that in Bling It On, and we'll actually probably be doing a video on that pretty soon as well. It's a very important skill to have. But knowing what their needs are allows you to come back at them with the business or the products. So once you know that she's very career-oriented and she has these material desires, when I say, hey, I have something I think would help you free up some time and help you get that car you talking about that you wanted. You see how that works? Now that I have some of the information that they've supplied to me, I can use our business model to help them, to fill in that need of theirs for the things that they want. So this works in lots of different ways. If it was family, maybe they talked about how tired they are all the time. Maybe they talked about how the kids are sick right now, just by asking about family. You know, oh yeah, we're here at the event, we're having a great time. The kids are home sick, and the hubby, he was going to be here, but he's watching them. Great opportunity to talk about greens. Maybe for recreation, they love tennis or they love basketball with their friends or something like that. But man, their legs killing them. Maybe we talk about relief. Maybe they love hiking. Maybe they love snowboarding. That's their recreation. But they just can't afford to ever really go. Well, now I can implement the business. And maybe that extra $500 or $1,000 bonus for Ruby right now could help them maybe get that season ticket pass and a snowboard. So do you see where I'm coming from here? If you find their need and fill it, locate a problem and solve it. That's really the basis you want to come from. You want to come from their need and not your greed. And when you do that, when you come from their need, you actually will lose the sound of sell. Because selling is a one-way street that I don't want to sound like a salesman. You're trying to come at someone with no basis. You don't know anything about them. You're just open-ended shooting an ad out there. And that's why it kind of comes across that one way and can actually hinder that conversation and really sound silly. So if you come from that place of need, something that they want, something that could help them, then you're going to find a lot more success. So it's F.O.R.M, which is family, occupation, recreation, and material desires. I use this a lot too when going through the party pad. So when you get to the average annual income chart and it shows, you know, distributor up to ambassador, when you're talking to a potential, so let's say you've already talked to them or they've blitzed you, they're excited about the business and you're meeting up with them to go a little further about the business because they're interested. Just like everything else, you're going to want to go through the party pad with them, you know, which we discussed in the Newbie to Ruby, so make sure you're checking that out. You're going through the party pad, and when you get to that page, I see a lot of distributors just kind of breeze through the average annual income chart. So what I want you guys to start doing, something that should help, is actually ask them questions about each income and how it could help them. And if you've already done F.O.R.M with them, you're going to know about their family. You're going to know about what they already do for work, how they feel about work. You're going to know what they like to do for fun, what they like to buy. You're going to already know those things. You're going to have them in hand. So when you start going over the chart, you can start actually implementing those things into the chart. So for the little things on their list, you know, when you're talking about the average annual income as a distributor, you know, that's on the lower end. Maybe that'll help them just replace some of those products. They wanted greens, so this is a way for them to get greens free for a year. When you start moving up to, say, Ruby, and they get that $1,000 bonus, and it's a $5,600 a year income, you know, what would $6,600 buy you? Is that car that you wanted to get or get paid off, some of that debt that you wanted to relieve, some of that stress for your family? Maybe it's Diamond. Maybe they want to quit their job at McDonald's or Taco Bell or something like that. Well, $23,000 a year would totally do that for them. You see what I'm saying? So if you come from their need and not your greed, if you find out about them, you build that rapport through some simple conversation skills. F.O.R.M is really easy to apply, and you can make your questions unique. You don't have to just say, how's your family? How's your occupation? What do you do for recreation? No, come up with some clever ways, come up with things for yourself. Use Google, just look for some great ideas, great questions to ask people. I recommend finding some unique questions, at least one unique question in each of these categories. It helps to really come across and be memorable in conversation. That's another little tip for you guys. So come up with some unique conversation starters in each of those categories. Ask that with strangers and your friends and family, and learn more about them, because that's what's going to be able to really tailor what you're talking about to their needs. And if you do that, you're going to have a much bigger success rate. When I'm just open-endedly talking about the business or products, it's hard for them to see themselves using it or see themselves doing it. They have to kind of fill in those gaps. But if you already know what their needs are and you use this, you can kind of help fill in the gaps for them. You can kind of lead them to see how it could be beneficial. We all know that, yes, $500 a month would be beneficial. When I say to you, do you want $500 a month? You could say yes, but that's a very open-ended. Now, if I said, would you want $500 to help save towards your kid's college tuition? Now you can actually see it. It becomes something. And when you get people to kind of see it, attach their whys to things, it really helps manifest and create something that's real. When we offer this is just a possibility. But when we start inputting the things that it can actually change, it becomes probability. So use that trick. The other thing I want to talk about today is the 4 steps to selling or sharing. So now that we've figured out their why, we've figured out the things that make them tick, the things that make them happy, and we can start using that for the business, using the form. Now I want to talk about once you actually get talking to them. So this is called the 4 steps to selling. The first step is qualifying the buyer. The second step is rapport. The third step is education. And the 4th step is close. Excuse me. So first step, qualify the buyer. So in our case, when I meet somebody I'm thinking about business-wise, the first thing I want to do is qualify them. In our case, for our business, there's very minimal qualifications, which is kind of nice. Sometimes with a lot of other businesses, you've got to meet a lot more standards. You've got to meet a lot more interests. But luckily for us, we have a business and products that everybody wants. Who doesn't want to look or feel better? So far you've just, every single person in the world is now potential by those standards. So now we get a little more limited. We're only in 19 countries, I believe. So do they live in one of those 19 countries? That would be a qualification standard. Lastly, are they 18? We can't enroll customers that aren't 18 or older. So are they 18? If they're younger, and maybe I can give them some information, but I won't want to spend too much time getting into the business of the products, especially if they can't buy them. If their parents are around, that would be different. I could talk to their parents, but that's a qualification standard. Are they 18? So that's the first thing you want to do. The other qualification that a lot of people overlook is, are they even interested? Sometimes we get so excited to talk to people and share this that we just want to share it with everyone. It's very easy to want to do that, and there's nothing wrong with that, especially in the beginning. I would just start sharing with everyone, whether they're interested or not. It's a great way to get no's, to really overcome a lot of things by sharing and by doing, not by learning. Learning's a great trick. I'm glad you're here learning today. But you need to take the knowledge that I'm going to give you today and all the things that you learn and then apply them. That's how you're going to internalize it and really knock it home and learn how to take it forward. So now that we've qualified the buyer, now we need to build rapport. Now, rapport can be done in 10 seconds. It can be done in 10 minutes. That's really up to you, and that's really up to how the conversation's going. Rapport means getting that conversation into a nice, easy, light mood. When you start this business, and we talk about our steps to success. So your first 4 loyal customers, mom, sister, best friend, brother, guy at the gas station that you see every day. The reason why we say those things, and almost everyone will say them, and it's not like we're told to tell you to say that, it's because it's easier to talk to people you already have rapport with. So your friends and family, that rapport has already been built. You already know them. You're already natural with them. It's easier to talk to your friends than it is to strangers. That's just a natural statement. Now, some of you I know out there are just saying, well, I can talk to anybody. I can talk to strangers just as easy as I can talk to my friends. Awesome. I love that. Not everyone is that way. If you are that way, that's amazing. So definitely added value skill for you. But you still, if you follow these steps, it's going to help you. So you want to build that rapport. So usually with friends and family, that can be done really quick. It's already done. Maybe you just say, hey, how have you been? Ask a couple questions about what you've been up to since I last saw you. That's an easy way to rebuild rapport in a conversation. If it's someone new, you're going to want to go through things like F.O.R.M. F.O.R.M helps you kind of build that rapport. Once you've built that rapport, then you're going to want to move on to the next step, which is educate. So maybe let's put out a scenario for you. You were at the grocery store and you're walking along and someone saw your lanyard and said, hey, what's that? Well, the first thing I'm going to do is just answer their question. Oh, hi, this is my business. This is that crazy wrap thing. Have you ever heard of it? And they'll say no. And I'll say, well, great. I would love to tell you more about it. By the way, my name is Justin. What's your name? And start building a little rapport, even though they want to know about the rep specifically. Get to know their name. Do you live around here? I've never met you. So on and so forth. Just ask a few simple questions. Maybe even compliment them. Complimenting is a great way to build instant rapport. And in that in that grocery store setting, you're going to want to build rapport really quick. And the best way to do that is with a compliment. Oh, I'm buying the same thing. Maybe relate to something in their cart, or I love your shoes, love your hat, love your clothes, something like that. You have a really nice smile. Nice to meet you. Well, your kids are so cute if they're with their kids. Find something that you can build instant rapport with. And then you can educate. So now if they want to know about the wrap, I can start answering their questions. It tones, tightens, and firms in as little as 45 minutes. You just put it on. Really simple. Works in 45 minutes. I can get you wrapped right now if you'd like to try it for $25. Or I can set up a meeting. We can get together. I can go over a little bit more with you. So use that and then book the appointment. And that's the last bit, which is close. So would you like to try it today for $25? Now, if they say no, this is where the 4 steps to selling and F.O.R.M come in handy. So if I go through qualifying them, I build that rapport, and I start educating about the products or the business, and everything's going well, and I go for the close. So the close, great way to do this if you're not sure when to close, is just say, so have I sold you already, or do you need to learn more about it? That's a great way to close. Our party pad actually has a closing page on it. It's built in there. It's in there for a reason. Again, this is the party pad kind of takes you through education and then close at the end. So would you like to become a loyal customer or a distributor, for an extra $40? Would you like to upgrade? It's a great way to do that. Would you like to become a loyal customer, get all these savings, get these products at wholesale and have them shipped to your house? Is that something you want to do if we're talking about being a customer? So are you ready to come on board? Do you want to sell these things with me and make some extra income and buy that car that you wanted? That's another way to close. Think about what your conversation was, input their needs, and close. If they say yes, great. You've just closed and you just got yourself a customer or distributor. The only way to do that is to ask, and closing is the hardest part. It's the end of the conversation. It's what scares everyone the most. If they said, I'm not really sure right yet, that's when you already know that they're not ready. So what you need to do, and you use these 4 steps in sequence, and you're going to do it all the time. You're always going to qualify, build rapport, educate, and then close. So if you hit a snag at close, maybe they just needed to know a little bit more about it. They needed a little more education. So come back and say, all right, well, was there some more questions you had for me? Is there anything in particular you wanted me to get into a little bit more, really to elaborate on? And they probably have some more questions. Maybe they want to know a little bit more about this product. So are you ready to come in with wraps today? Well, you know what? I wanted to know a little bit more about the greens in this first. Well, they're telling you they want to know a little bit more. So bring it back, go back into education mode, start explaining the things and answer their questions like that. Now, if you get, I'm just not quite sure I'm ready for this yet. Thank you though. Well, maybe you need to go back a little further. A roadblock I see a lot of people do is they go back to educate and they try to over-educate at this point. So when a customer or potential hits that, and really what they need is more rapport being built, a lot of us get stuck at education. So for an example, you get this on Facebook sometimes, you're talking with a potential, they're really excited. You've talked about let's just say the business or something like that. You've talked about the business. They seem excited. They seem like they're ready to come on board. You're pretty sure they're ready to come on board, and you're ready to just say that last bit, and you say, all right, so let's get you started. When would be a good time to do that? And then it goes blank. And you don't hear anything. So you send another message. All right, so we talked about getting started. Are you available today? And nothing. And you hear those dreaded words of silence. That's where you're at step 4, and you need to come back to step 3. So, hey, was there any other questions you had before we got started? And maybe it's blank, and they're not saying anything. So you come back with another question. Hey, I wanted to tell you more. When would be a good time for us to chat? And that's kind of where people get stuck, is they stick right there at either educate or trying to reclose. Now, if you're following these 4 steps, what you want to do at that point, if you're still hitting resistance, is actually come back another step. Come back to rapport. Instead of asking them a question about, hey, when can we get together and get started, because they've already said no to close to you for that moment. They needed a little either education. So you tried that. They didn't really need education. They needed was a little more rapport at this point. So go back and ask them a different question. Hey, maybe go through their Facebook. Hey, I noticed you were on a trip with the family. How'd that go? You've taken it away from the business and you brought it back to rapport. Most of the time, they're going to actually answer you back if your question's about rapport. It's about their family. It's about them. So bring it back to form. Start asking those questions before. How's your family? Hey, you got the day off today? Are you doing anything fun today? Hey, I noticed you bought this whatever on Facebook. All right, so you start asking those questions. Build that rapport up. Once that conversation starts up, go through F.O.R.M again with them. Ask them some questions. Get invested in what's going on. Be yourself, and that's why I can't really give you a script for F.O.R.M. You got to just kind of use that as a way to be a conversation starter. But you are yourself, and you're going to ask your own questions. So build up that rapport again. Once you've built that rapport, hey, and last time we were talking about get started, I wanted to see if you were still thinking about doing that or if you had any more questions. So now you bring it back to step 3. And then hopefully that can continue. If they're resistant, you got to bring it back to step 2. So if you're still getting resistance at even rapport, then you really should come back to step 1. And that's a lot of things people miss. That's why the 4 steps can really be helpful. Are they really a qualified buyer? And sometimes they just aren't ready to join. They just don't want to join. They have a lot of objections, but they were willing to hear you out to be friendly, but really in the beginning, they weren't no to begin with. So, that's a situation where you got to build lots of rapport, but you're going to want to put them on your lead list, put them to the back, and go on to a new one. So use those 4 steps to start and end your sales. Use F.O.R.M to build those conversations. I hope that helps. I hope what I said hopefully clicked with you in some way. I use these skills all the time, and it's become very natural. It's not even something I really think about anymore. It just flows very naturally. When doing the party pad, that's your education. Remember that, guys. You've got that party pad. That's how you educate people. They want to know about the business. You've got that steps to success. So make sure you're learning those things. That's the easy way to talk to the business. The hard part is learning how to talk to people. So use your F.O.R.M. Again, that's family, occupation, recreation, material desires, and use your 4 steps to selling, which is qualification, rapport, recreate, or education, and the close. So all 4 of those individual steps, we'll go over more on different things. The education is going to be on your guys. Rapport, use F.O.R.M, and close is kind of something we will go into again another time. That's a very big topic for people, is good ways to close. I know Charity's got some great tips for you, so I'm sure she would love to do a video on that, and we'll probably do something like that together in one of the following weeks. So that's going to be our Millionaire School class for today. It's a little bit of a short one. Again, I'm doing this on my own today. So, but I really wanted to share that with you. I know a lot of people hit those roadblocks, and I really hope that helps you. And you can use this online and in person. So thanks again for coming on today, guys. Remember that we do have the online opportunity presentation today at 12:30. That will be on Facebook. We're going to do up some posts and stuff like that, kind of like the online party is done. So make sure you're coming to that today and inviting your potentials. We've got some big plans for that actually in the next coming weeks. So definitely stay tuned for those, and those will be every Saturday. It's going to be our online opportunity presentations. And we'll also be doing this class again next Saturday at 10:30. We do not have a topic for you yet, guys, but we will come up with something soon, I promise. We'll announce that on Blinkathon for you in the time between now and then, or just come on next week either way. We're going to do these every week at 10:30, kind of help you build up on some of those skills like we did today with F.O.R.M and the 4 steps to selling. So thank you guys for coming on today, and we'll see you a little later. Take care.